Hi, I'm Dr. Charlene Walters, author, business and branding mentor, trainer, as well as your host for Launch, a business talk show for anyone who wants to launch their business, their career, or their life. Hi everyone, welcome to Launch. I'm your host, Charlene Walters, and today I'm super excited because I have another host from our network. I have Brian Freed. He is the host of the Your Invention show, and we are going to be talking about the books we have out, give you ideas, and discuss the books so you could use them to further your businesses. Welcome to the show, Brian.
Thank you for having me, Charlene. It's always a pleasure, and you're full of energy and full of entrepreneurship.
It's a good combination, right?
Absolutely.
So, Brian, tell everyone a little bit about yourself and about your new book.
Thank you. Well, to start off with, I'm an inventor. I just got my 13th patent allowed. And I've been working in this inventing world for 18 plus years now. And besides being an inventor, I authored a couple books, which we're going to go over today. And I also host a show called Your Invention Show. Before that, when we didn't really have video shows, we had podcasts. So I had the Your Invention radio show, which is now the TV show. And I also run the National Inventor Club, which is fantastic. Great group of inventors, innovators, resources for inventors. So really excited about all the activity that's going on in the invention, innovation, entrepreneurship world.
That is a lot of activity for sure. But you definitely are immersed in the environment, and so that's what makes you a great author for this book. And I know the audience would love to hear more about it.
Thank you very much. Well, to start with, when I come up with an idea, I go through some steps, and ultimately I end up having to go through prototypes and making my products. So as I've gone through those stages, there's a point where you say, okay, what am I going to do now? Am I going to license my idea or license my invention so I can earn royalties from it? So somebody else who has distribution and manufacturing already will make it, sell it, and I would earn a royalty from it. And on the other side, I actually manufacture products. So I go through the factories, whether they're in the US or overseas, and I manufacture them, and I have a business of buying and selling, well, making my product and selling it to retail.
Amazing.
So it's pretty fun.
It is fun. And I forgot to mention the title of your book, which is How to Make Money with Your Invention Idea by Brian Freed.
Thank you. Hot off the press. It's a couple weeks old. How to Make Money with Your Invention Idea. Look, a lot of people have ideas, Charlene, and it's just a matter of figuring out, is this something that's going to make you money? Like, you're going to put in time, money, energy, effort into your idea. Correct. Because look, you have to look at it as a business. And that's why I feel like our two books go well together. When you come up with an idea, you're going into business, and you have to take that emotional, like, excitement. Like, I still get it when I come up with an idea, but really what I need to do is put my business cap on and say, you know what, this is a business. I'm going to invest my time, money, energy, effort into it, my research I'm putting in. Am I going to get back what I put in? Am I going to make more than what I put in? Or am I going to hit a brick wall? Maybe this isn't the one and I should move on to my next idea. And that's what I do in my book and what I do for people on a daily basis.
Definitely. You know, a lot of times we all have ideas for businesses, for products. We might think it's a wonderful idea, but if it's not going to make us any money, then it's a terrible idea.
Absolutely. Well, like I was saying, it really meshes into entrepreneurship. So, Charlene, why don't you tell us about your book?
Sure. The name of my book is Launch Your Inner Entrepreneur, and it's about entrepreneurial mindset and what it takes to be successful as an entrepreneur. And in it, I go through 10 different mindset shifts in order to take your idea and just keep moving forward. And as you know, Brian, in business, we often hit a lot of obstacles, a lot of setbacks. A lot of it is this mental game. So we need to have that energy, that strength to keep picking ourselves up off the floor when we fall down, when we fail, when we have a setback, because that's inevitable, and to have the tenacity to keep moving forward. So my book really helps entrepreneurs develop their plans and then do those things that will help them stay in business for the long haul in order to be successful.
Well, you've been a guest on the National Inventor Club. And like I
Yes.
said, I look at coming up with an idea as a business. So you've been on there, and I know that you've been super helpful to inventors that are out there to have this mindset. But I know, Charlene, one of the most important things is taking action, right? And you talk about that quite a bit in your book.
Yes, it is absolutely the first mindset shift, and it's so important because we could have a million ideas and they may be wonderful. In fact, I had an idea early on when I was younger for something like Spanx. Well, that was a big mistake right there. You have to take action on your ideas and you have to keep going, and it's not going to happen without a plan. And it's not just that initial taking action, that initial leap. It's doing that repeatedly throughout your business. As your business changes, the market changes, things evolve. So you have to have that ability to continuously figure out your environment, make some goals, and then list the steps to get there, and then execute on those steps, because it's a really big thing. And particularly when you have hit something that you weren't expecting, and you have to keep finding that strength to move forward. So execution is really, really big. Just important as ideas, but not as important. So what would you say makes a good idea, Brian?
I would say that the market. So you might come up with something for yourself,
Yes.
but how many other people are really going to need it?
Yes.
And how many people, is it something that's niche? Is it, let's say, a golf ball? I don't play golf, but I use this analogy. Like, you play golf and you're at the golf course, and you came up with this amazing golf ball that does all these tips and tricks and amazing things. And next thing you know, you're in the golf course and go, look at this. Everybody in the world is going to want to use my golf ball, this
Right.
new golf ball. But when you step out, you start to ask people, like, do you play golf? Well, no. Do you play golf? Once in a while. You know what I mean? So
Right.
you look at it as kind of niche. And the thing is that you can make money with it, but how many other golf balls are out there? And what's going to make yours different? And how are people going to know about it?
Right.
And that's the thing, is when you're coming up with an idea, you want to figure out what your window of opportunity is. And like I said, to figure out, like, when there's a product that I was on QVC with this product for almost 3 years. And what this is a bag sealer. So you take, do I have any plastic bag? Here's one. You take any plastic
Just happen to have it right there under your desk, right?
It was in the garbage. But you take any plastic bag, cereal bag, freezer bag, and you put it through the loop and you push the button that's on here and you pull it up and it seals it tight. So
Nice.
this originally started off with, okay, I wanted this for bread. So if I said, Charlene, do you eat bread? Maybe yes, maybe no. Do you eat bread? Love, you know, so you start asking people, yes, no, yes, no. But I said, what about in the kitchen, do you use cereal? Okay, yes, I have cereal. In the pantry, in the freezer, you have all these bags. So what I did was, at the end of the day, I said, how many people have a kitchen? That's how I ended up doing millions of dollars of this product, and it's
Yes.
still selling. It's called Pull Ties, and it's a bag sealer that's on Amazon right now. It's in Home Goods, Home Sense, TJ Maxx, and those type of stores. So, you know, it's cranking. But you know what, Charlene? One thing that's really important is to be flexible, I think.
Yes.
Look,
Absolutely.
we both wrote books, and it's a good guide. And yours is amazing, just to go through the steps of what we did. But you know what? Being flexible, not everything is a textbook. There's going to be bumps in the road. There's going to be some things that are going to take you in a different direction. But ultimately, you want to get back on course, right?
Yes, you definitely need to get right back on course and dust yourself off and figure out what it is that you need to do instead. Maybe it's plan B, C, D, E, and F. I just can't get married to one single idea or one way of doing things. As you found out too, you have to keep evolving and going to the next version.
Well, I can tell you that making prototypes, like I'll show you one of my other inventions, Charlene. I have this product that during I just tried not to say it anymore, but during COVID
Is it
pandemic,
still COVID? I think it's still
I
COVID
don't
technically,
know.
but
I
I
don't
don't
even,
know. Yes.
I don't even want to say it anymore, but paper towels were very valuable then. It
Yes.
was hard to get them. So I started to look at the top of my paper towel roll a little differently for some reason. And I noticed that it would get wet and then dry up, and it was all like shriveled up on top. And then it was also dirty, like tomato sauce. So I started to ask my friends and family, take a picture of the top of your paper towel roll. I want to see it. What are you talking about, Brian? Another crazy idea of yours? Yeah. Well, I looked and it was disgusting. There were people that had food, dirt, wet. I don't know what was on there. But at the end of the day, I said, you know what? There's a lot of people that have paper towel rolls and stands and holders.
Yeah.
So what I did was I started to come up with these different prototypes that would fit into the inner tube. So if it fits in the inner tube, you know that it'll fit onto any paper towel stand because it fits into the inner tube. So what I did was I made a bunch of these, excuse me, and had to keep going through figuring out how it's going to stay within the inner tube. And a few iterations later, I ended up coming up with, I wanted a clear one, and it goes right into the inner tube. So it conforms to any decor, right? If you have brass, aluminum, the brushed nickel, whatever. And now when your hands are wet or dirty, because that's most of the time you're reaching for a paper towel sheet, you're putting your hand on top to pull the sheet off. So now when your hands are wet or dirty, you don't have to get it wet or dirty anymore. It's clean, it stays clean and dry. So yeah, you have to be flexible. Thank you, Charlene. You know what? This is on Amazon. It's going into TJ Maxx, Home Goods, and we have an appointment with the buyer at Walmart coming up.
Oh, that is awesome. I think
Thank you.
probably for a lot of people out there, they'd love to hear some tips about, you just rattled off a bunch of retailers. How can you pitch to a retail store once you have a product?
Well, it's very difficult when you have one SKU, one product,
Okay.
to pitch a buyer. Because when you go into the stores, they have very limited amount of shelf space that they're responsible for.
Yeah.
So are they taking a chance with Brian Fried and his inventions, or are you going to take a chance with a brand name like a Johnson & Johnson?
Right.
So it's not very easy. So a lot of times what I'll do is I'll put my products in the retail stores off retail, off like online.
Right.
And then I'll license it to companies that already have distribution in retail so I can work with them and earn royalties from that. Or I do a mix of both. It varies. But yeah, you just have to be persistent and build up a brand where they have multiple SKUs. So when they're buying one product, maybe they'll buy 2, 3, 4, 10 products, and it'll be worth their while. And also build up some risk and build up some established type of sales track. This way they know that your products sell.
Yes, I think that's definitely true. And you know, for my business, it's mainly service. So I'm not dealing with products all the time. The one product I do have though is my book. And dealing with retailers, you know, I've been really successful with trying to network with the managers at different bookstores, and I've been to probably over 60 Barnes and Nobles, just stopping in, doing book signings, just making my presence known. And I think that's what you have to do in sales. Just you have to really put yourself out there no matter what your product, get to know other people, network, find out what's selling, what they like, what they don't, and really what you can do to help. And it sounds like you have a great system for dealing with retailers as well.
And you do also well. The system's just being persistent, taking action, like we've been speaking about.
Yes.
But you know what's really interesting though, Charlene, between both of us is most of the time as an entrepreneur or inventor, whatever you want to call us, it's really something that we don't wake up and say, I'm going to be an entrepreneur or I'm going to be an inventor. Most of us have, and most of the time, people that I'm speaking to have a day job. And it's something that they say, you know what, whether they went to the airport or woke up and brushed their teeth and went to the bathroom and kitchen and whatever, they're coming up with an idea, whether it's a product or a service like you do. And it's something that came from some experience that you have or had. And most of the time, these are side hustles.
Yeah.
And it's not like you're going to school saying I'm going to be, well, they do have some entrepreneur classes, but inventor, a little bit limited. I'm going to be an inventor. I'm going to go take a, full degree in inventory, if that's a word. But
Invention, I don't know.
it's interesting though, because a lot of times people come up with an idea or a business, and the first thing is, I want to be rich. I want to make $1 gazillion and make it happen. But it takes a little time and it takes some effort to put in. What do you think some of those things are, Charlene, to get people's mindset into the, okay, I have a full-time job. I have this side hustle that I'm thinking about. What should I do next?
So what I really recommend for people, and I love the idea of having a side hustle for as long as you can, because no matter how long you think it is going to be to get that business off the ground, you're going to have to double that time. It always takes longer than you expect, and having a side hustle is good because you still have that income coming in from your job and you don't have that pressure. But in order to start, and you mentioned this before, Brian, you really have to do your homework and your research. We can come up with an idea, a business plan, and if there's not a market out there for it, it's no good. So we have to really get to know our target customers, what they like, what they don't. We can do our own research by going into the competitors, looking who's already out there, what they're doing well, what we might be able to do better, where there's a hole in the market, or maybe the customers are unhappy with the product or service they're currently using, and how can we make it better? So you have to do all of that homework first, and then really do your planning, your business plan, your sales. Everything doesn't have to be perfect, and people jump into business often without it. But the more we can kind of figure this out and do that research beforehand, the better off we'll be when we do actually launch, and then we can work on it a little at a time without that pressure of having to have those instant sales, although we really do have to focus on sales first and foremost. What would you suggest for someone who's got an idea and is just getting started, Brian?
Well, like you said, be real and do your research. That's ultimately number one. And you know what, Charlene, a lot of people, and I know it's exciting, like I said earlier, you get that butterfly feeling, you want to be, like you're going to change the world with your idea, or it's something that, look, maybe it's something that I can make some residual income from. But you know what? A lot of people, what they do is I tell them to do a search, and they come back, or before they even get to me, they say, yeah, I searched. All right, tell me about your search. Well, I went down the aisles at Walmart and I didn't see it. Or I went online and I put in just a term, and I went through a page or two and I didn't see it. So, or they just closed their eyes and searched and said, oh my gosh, there's nothing else out there like
Eeny, meeny, miny, mo, where is it? Nope, nothing.
So it's really important that you want to know if again, what's going to make you different? What's going to make you stand out from the rest of the crowd? Whether it's your invention, with your business, why are people going to come to you or buy your product? And so for us as inventors, I think one of the real important steps is to do your research and do a patent search. So you can look online to start with and see what products or ideas are out there. Maybe they're ideas or maybe they're patents. If you go to uspto.gov or you use Google Patents, and you see what's out there and you start to capture what you find, and then you bounce it off a patent attorney or agent to see if it's something that you could get a patent on. It's called a patentability opinion. I try to get a patent if it's available. I try. It's always
Good
better,
idea.
like than not to have one. At least you're protected for a certain amount of time.
Correct.
And
Yeah.
then as you do that, that's when you start to go through the steps. So after I do my due diligence on if it's an idea that I should move forward with, is it niche? Is it mass market? How much do I have to put into what I'm going to get out? I start to go through. So with us, we have to take the idea and we have to make it real. We have to make do something so we could see it physically if it's got something that's going to be used. So prototypes are really good. You might want to have a product designer or engineer, or you can maybe take some pieces out of things that already exist and make your own prototype, but you want to see it and get an experience of how it works. And as you're going through that, then you have this prototype. Once you have the prototype, then you might want to get patent protection. So there's a provisional patent application, which will say that you're patent pending for a year. while you're exploring the market. You might want to do a design patent, which is ornamental. And then your patent pending while you're waiting for the patent office to give you a patent. Then you can make some decisions. Am I an entrepreneur that wants to start their own business and manufacture and sell and go out and hustle and, knock on the retailers' doors or online? Or do I want to find a company that already has an established business and distribution and manufacturing and add my product to their product line to earn a royalty? So these are the things that I do on a daily basis, Charlene, to help people to make better decisions. So I learn about them, what they want to do, who they are, how much money they have to a point, and then decide on what direction they want to do. So how much time, money, energy, and effort do they want to put in?
That's great, because being an entrepreneur, being an inventor is really lonely. You're kind of stuck in this business, it's your baby, and you need that person to bounce ideas off of. I know we both work with a lot of entrepreneurs, and that's what we do. We're cheerleaders for them. We help them when they get stuck. We really help them through the process. What else do you do, Brian, for the inventors you work with, and how can someone like you really help?
Well, I help them to make those better decisions. So a lot of times, Charlene, I'll help them to realize to stop and to move on to their next idea. And I may never speak to them again, or maybe I'll speak to them when they have their next invention. But I help them to go through all the steps of what they need to do to get to where they want to go. So after I figure out, is it like good idea, good market? Is it something that you may want to license or manufacture? We'll figure that out. And then I'll take you to the beginning, figure out like where you are and help you to get to where you want to go. And I know you do the same thing. And what's great is that like just our books, like your book and my book, I feel like when somebody reads my book or when I read your book, I'm not alone. And you were saying like you can get that lonely feeling, like, what do I do next? At least have some guide of people who have been there, done that. And that's why I feel like I'm a good candidate to help people with their inventions, because I just got my 13th patent, and I've been there, done that. I've licensed, manufactured, I've helped people for all these years go through the steps or not go through the steps. So, and practically in every industry that you could think of. And that's the thing, is you want to work with people like you and myself that have experience, that have been there, done that, that understand where you're coming from, but not looking at it from our point of view, but looking at it from them. What's the best thing for them and what's in their best interest? That's why I think like our guides help them to get to where they want to go.
I agree. I've worked with so many entrepreneurs, and in working with different people, you start to see some themes. And sometimes a lot of times they're just being overly hard on themselves, expecting things too quickly. Maybe they didn't have their target audience just right, or they're struggling in one area or another, but we can talk them through and we can be a great resource for them. And even if they're just bouncing their ideas off of us, that's also wonderful, because sometimes they know a lot and they know what they need to do, but they want to just talk it through and make sure. And maybe we can take what they're saying and improve it even more. And nothing gives me more pleasure than when somebody sends me a random message on Instagram or Twitter or wherever that they've read my book and how it's helped them start their business. And I'm sure it's the same for you, Brian. It's such a feeling of accomplishment to help other people become who they're meant to be, to fulfill their dreams, to get their products, to get their businesses out there. I think we are just in such a rewarding industry, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. And what you said before about having people like not being by yourself,
Yes.
having people that you can work with and that you can bounce things off of, and people that you can trust, I think is really important. So in my world, one of the most important things is finding somebody who you can trust. And then as you're going through the steps of what needs to get accomplished, who do you go to? How do you find these people? You want to be able to get references. So whether it's from me or you on your own, it's always important to find out who people have worked with before you start working with them. Just like you want to build a house, you're probably going to see the person's work before they do work in your house or build your house.
Yes.
And I know that's important for people also, Charlene, like when they're starting their own business, you're going to need things along the way to build, and you're going to need a good team around you. It doesn't have to be where you hire this every single position immediately, but you build up, and maybe you work with some freelancers, virtual assistants, you build up until you get to a point where you have some good revenue stream coming in. Same thing with my inventions and the products. Like as you start to build up and you have good revenue stream, you start to build your team, which makes things a little bit off your plate. So you have more open-minded opportunity to come up and work on the next big thing.
Absolutely, and getting that team in place is important. Having a good attorney is one of the first things I tell new entrepreneurs. Getting those contracts and everything in place before you need it, the business paperwork is a big one. Hiring virtual assistants, if you're going to work with somebody in marketing, PR, etc., really do ask around and find those references. You want to make sure that you're not throwing money away and that you're getting somebody who's going to really work for you. And that'll look different for all different businesses and different people. A lot of people like to kind of bootstrap, other people outsource, but investing in your business is always a good idea, and going to other experts can definitely help you out. We are actually coming towards the end of our show, but I wanted to give Brian an opportunity to talk about his book and where everybody could find it.
Thank you, Charlene. Well, this is the book, How to Make Money with Your Invention Idea. It's an inventor's quick startup guide, and you can find it on Amazon. You could go to any bookstore and you could just put in my name, Brian Fried, as the author. I have a couple other books before this. I'm really proud of this one. It's up to date. I started my first book, I think was 2008, You and Your Big Ideas. The second one was Inventing Secrets Revealed in 2016. And this one is short, sweet, right to the point. How to make money with your invention. That's what you want to know. The answers are in here. So you can buy it on Amazon or in any bookstore. And also on my website, brianfried.com, I have a lot of good information on there. And you know what? People have to spell my name right. I feel bad saying this, but a lot of people spell my first name Brain. And if you say my last name the way it's spelled, then I'm brain fried.
Nobody wants that.
I know it's appropriate being an inventor, but it's Brian is my first name.
Brian Fried. It's Brian Fried. Well, I'm sure hopefully everybody will check your book out, and you can reach for mine too, which is called Launch Your Inner Entrepreneur. And this is written specifically for women, but I tell everyone that men can get just as much out of it as women. Plus, you'll get a better understanding of women, which is very hard for some, right? You want to get into their mindset, but it's really about shifting your mindset. There's a plan at the end, so you can actually do activities and move your business forward, help improve your mindset to be successful. You can find it at Amazon, Barnes & Noble, I saw it on Walmart, all the places, Books A Million, all the places books are sold. Charlene Walters, Launch Your Inner Entrepreneur. Check out Brian's book too. I think both of them work well together. And reach out to us. We're both on Twitter, we're on Instagram, we have our own websites. I'm charlenewalters.com. And we are more than happy to help you, to answer any questions, and just support the entrepreneurship community. And with that, we are at the end here, and we will see you next time on Launch.